Hi, welcome to Module 10. And in Module 10, we'll be working through Omnichannel for customer service. It's a very fantastic one because this is where configurations to different channels, right, are being done. So I'll be walking us through the module for Omnichannel for customer service. So basically, what is omnichannel engagement, right? So it's like real-time support across multiple channels. So you have Facebook, WhatsApp, and other channels that are readily available. So omnichannel congregates all those into one single interface for the customers on Microsoft Dynamics 365 CRM. So it gives the agent a unified experience inside customer service workspace. So in the customer service workspace, you have all of those sitting, and this includes chats, voice, SMS, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, and more, right? Even Teams. So you could build Teams app that communicates with your client base, as the case may be. And Omnichannel is a really, really robust tool in the Microsoft ecosystem. So as you can see from the diagram I have, right? So you could have a live chat coming in, and based on some condition, just like we saw in skill-based routing, those chats is now categorized and then taken to the best fit agent. So it's really, really fantastic, and it's a cool one. So we'll be learning as functional consultants that will be administering CRM, because you have quite a number of customers, right, that will want to go through this. And recently, Microsoft have incorporated all of this in the Microsoft Dynamics Contact Center. So after this module, we're looking at the contact center, right? But all the configurations you'll be doing here are same what you'll be able to do in the contact center, right? And all of them can be on the Microsoft's workspace. So the supported engagement channels we have is live chat. So live chat is, let's say, from your client's website, right? People could be able to just start a chat and it directly hands over to an agent, or it encounters a chat bot first, right? As we'll be seeing in subsequent slides, it encounters a chat bot first, and after the chat bot has engaged the customer, they now hands that over to an agent. So we have also have the voice, where you have the telephony via Azure communication. So also that, so you could build an IVR bot that could speak to the customers from there. We also have SMS and WhatsApp. So for this, the platform currently supported is Twilio, right? So we'll be seeing that also shortly is Twilio. Then we also have social media channels. For currently, Twitter is not out of the box again. We only have Facebook and some other messengers. So if you want to do Twitter, you need to go through custom application mode. That's using bot framework. Then we have email integrations. So it's with Outlook. So you could do the email to case option. So Workstreams and channel setup. So all these different congregated sources we are having, what brings all of them together is what we call the workstream in Microsoft Dynamics CRM. We've seen the configuration of workstream in our earlier slides. So through them is where you define your chat widgets, you do your queues, also set up those routings. So let me just quickly show us that and how that looks like. So basically, if you go to our environment, so now if you go to, basically, most of the configuration for the omni-channel will be done in either your customer service admin center, or the contact center admin center. So when you come, this is the workstream we're talking about, right? And you could have different kind of workstream. For instance, this is the one for WhatsApp, right? You can see this does is what does integration to WhatsApp, right? We have an active number here, and when it's done, it pushes it to, and you also have users that are stationed here, right, to be able to get those chats accordingly. So let's go back to our work stream. So also you could see the one for charts here, right? This is actually a chart, and as you can see, it has a chart widget. So this widget is what you just copy after the setup, which I'll show us in a subsequent video, and you give it to the developers from your client end that will embed on the front end. You could also use W3, right? And from W3, if I just paste that snippet here, if I run, then at the bottom right here, the less chart is going to pop up, and with that you'll be able to interact directly with the client, right? Passing details. So let's say I do this. So when you pass in details, then communication kicks in. So that's basically so this is now routing to a live agent. That's basically how the routing works. And if somebody is stationed to collect that, let me see, on the back end, as we'll be seeing currently, it's going to go through. So, but this is basically where you do the configuration for your work stream. Your work stream is where picks in all those things from those different channels and routes them in through to your agents. So we'll be walking through different use cases now. We'll walk through the chat, we'll walk through the voice, we'll walk through WhatsApp, we'll also walk through the live channel. So let's just get those use case up, and we'll go in details on how each of them will be configured. First of all, we just go to our environment, a Dynamics environment, so that we can do the setup. So I'll just go to aka.ms. So I'll just go to the Power Platform Admin Center so I could access the environment I want to use. If you have any concern, you could drop it on the chat of this video. If it's in regards to the training that is being done, then with that I'll be able to reach out to you and give the needed help or clarification you might need, as the case may be, in regards to what has been discussed. So I'll go to the environment, and the environment I want to use is this customer service trial. So I'll just proceed to click on the organization. So it's going to load for me. So what we plan to do is actually, okay, let's say the company has websites, platforms, and they want from those platforms their customers should be able to reach out to them directly from there, and just so that they can get their complaints or get their request, and an agent will receive that as a live chat and respond to them immediately, right? So what we're going to do, first of all, we're going to set up Workstreams, a Workstream to cater for that. So if you don't really know much about Workstream, you could check one of my previous videos where I talk about Workstreams and queues and all that, right? So you could get more details on what Workstreams is and how it's tied to queues to be able to give you the needed functionality that you want. Okay, so these are Dynamics environment. So to be able to set up your Workstreams and queues, as the case may be, where we'll be navigating is the Customer Service Admin Center, which I'm hovering over. So you just click on the Customer Service Admin Center. Okay, so our admin center is now open. So as usual, as I said earlier on, you can check my previous video to get more insight into creating work streams and queues, as the case may be. So for this demo, I've already created a queue, and I've placed an agent there which we'll be using for testing. So what we'll just walk through now is to create the chats widget. So you come to Workstream. After clicking on Workstream, now we'll go and create a new Workstream. So I'll click on New Workstream. So it's going to request us to pass in a name for the Workstream we are creating. So I'll just call this, let's say live. Live chats, Workstream, and the Workstream type will be messaging. So we have three types: messaging, record, and voice. Voice is for your phone call. Record is items that are created on the system, so things like your cases that you might need to save and route. Then messaging is where all the other chats fall into, which you have your Facebook, you have your custom chats, Twitter, in the case as you can receive DMs. So I'll just click on messaging and it will tell me to select which type of channel. So as you can see, we have a lot of channel. Omnichannel is very robust and it can cater for a lot for you. I'll also be taking, I'll be releasing the subsequent video on integrating WhatsApp, also with Facebook, Microsoft Teams, as the case may be. So for this one, we're doing live chat. So I'll just click on chat. So I will not leave it for persistence. I'll just leave the default we have here. And I'll select a default queue. So I just click this queue I created, so which will be the default. So I'll click on create. So that is going to load and save for us. Okay, so the workstream is now created. The next thing is for us to configure and set up our chats widget. So you come here, you click on setup chat. So I'll click on setup chat. So I'm going to give this a name. So I'll just call this live chats, or let me say Royal Tech live support, something like this. So I'll click on next. So this title now is what you want to see on when the widget is on the web page or whatever. So what do you want the customers to see? So for this one, I'll just leave it as let's chat. Some people can say chat with us, or as the case may be. And you can also have the subtitle, which I will leave as the same. You could change the theme to fit into the theme color of your website. And also you could have your own logo if you want to use, but we're leaving everything as default here. Also, then we click on next. So behaviors. So there are some custom messages which you could send out there, but I'll not be using the custom messages. So there's also pre-conversation survey. So this pre-conversation surveys are some of the questions you could ask your customers once they click on the let's chat, so I should just gather some information from them. So let's say I want some pre-conversation survey. If I click on turn on here, I could add question. Let me say I want the person's full name, something like this, full name. That's it. So the question will be full name. Let me make it this way, or I could just say yeah, full name. Just leave it as name. Then single text, I just want a single line. Say yes. Will this be required? Yes. Then the next question I want to ask the person for his email. So I just click on this and say email. Say email address, something like this, and put this here. And still single line, and I'll make it required to confirm. And the next one I could just add should be, are you a new customer? So just call this customer ask, and come here and say, are you a new customer? Something like this. For this, we want an option set, so I'll just click here and say option set. So I'll say yes. You select semicolon and say no. Something like this. Is this required? Let's say it's required. Okay, let me remove it not as required. And I'll click on confirm. So we now have 3 questions that we want to ask the customer. So also, you some fun thing you have is you could show the customer, you could have authentication. You could also show the customer the wait time in which they are on. Another thing is you could use the customer location detection. So for this, you need the Bing map setup and all that to be able to set up to see your customer's current location. So I'll show you where all this information will come up when a chat is accepted from a customer. Then they will just click on next. So there are also some other features which you could incorporate, file attachment, how you want the notification to come in, if the customers will be able to get their conversation transcript, meaning what has transpired between them and the agent, for them to be able to get a run through of all those communication. So we have that also. Also, there's option for you to enable video calling. So on the chat, you could enable video calling so that the agent could initiate a video call or the customer could initiate as the case may be. Then there's also screen sharing. So from the chat, the agent could request for a screen share and all that. I'll leave everything just as default so we could have a run through. Then I'll click on next. So this is just the review of all the settings we've made. Then I can click on create. So it's going to create the chat widget for us, which we can now pick up and embed in our different sites. And we're also going to make a test of that shortly once the creation of the chat widget comes up. So our chat widget is done creating. So this is the widgets scripts that we're supposed to copy and paste in wherever we want to use it. But I'll just click on done. I'll show you how you can pick that up from here. But we're not done with the setting. We want this to be able to route this to an agent. So I have an agent account already up. Let me just try bringing that up here. Let's see. So this is my agent account. So this is just like a sample of an agent. Let me confirm this. Okay, yeah, this is an agent, Tech Up CRM agent. So this person will be the one receiving the service request on our behalf. So let's just go back and complete the setting that will route it to the person. So it's now the route to queues. By default, if there's no route to queue here, this will fall to this queue. But we just want to create one. If you want more details about how queues are created, just check my previous videos on that. So I'll click on create rule set. I'll just say route to agents, route chats to agents, something like this. I'll click on create. Okay, so our route configuration is now created. So we need to create the rule. So I'll click on create rule and I'll just set up some conditions to pick it by default. All right, so I'll just call this rule same thing, say route to agent rule, right? So for this, let's just say, let's just add something here. I'll say created on contains a date, something like that. Created on, let's say contains data, something like this, which I know is for sure. Then the queue I want to take it to is our agent queue, and I click on create. So basically, with this configuration now, whenever any chat comes to this chat workstreams this chat workstream we just created is going to be routed to an agent in this queue we configured. So you can come here and see the queue. So the agent support queue now has we've already configured that, and the agent here is our CRM agent, right? And this is the account of the CRM agent. You can see the CRM agent is already logged in. So let me just go to its own Omnichannel end. And now let's test our chat widget, right? So I'll go back here. I'll go to Workstreams. Now we'll copy the chat widget. So to be able to test this, you could use various platforms, but one of the cool one I use is W3. So I'll just go here and say W3, W3 schools, click OK. So with this, you can have a editor to try out the widget on. So just scroll down to try it yourself, click on try it yourself. So now it brings you to an online editor where you could run some HTML script and you have the output result here. So I'll go back to dynamics, then you see copy live chat widget where I'm hovering about. So click on the copy icon. So once it's done copying, go to your W3 try it editor and just pick any space around here. So let's just say come down here, click enter. I'll paste the HTML scripts here. So this is script we brought in from the Omnichannel, which holds our chat widget. So you click on run. So when it runs, we're now going to have it positioned here because that's what we configured from our chat widget configuration that it should display at the bottom right. So we can see it down here now. It says let's chat, we are online, which is the subtitle. So when I click on let's chat, so it's going to bring me the pre-survey questions I asked. So the question when we're setting them up, this is where the questions are going to come in. So I would say this is Victor Oguche, right? Then at email address, say Victor at gmail.com, right? Then are you a new customer? Say yes, I'm a new customer. Then submit this. So once I submit, if you come down to CRM, so it said an agent will be with you in a moment. So now let's go and bring up the agent account. So this is the agent account. So a pop-up is going to come up here showing for this agent to accept the customer request that's coming. So you can see now it's a chat request from a visitor. So you're seeing from a visitor here because my name is not already provisioned on the system. I'm not yet a contact on this CRM environment. That's why. But if I'm already a contact, you see that it's going to pop up my full name here, picking it up from the email. So I'll just accept this. Once you accept, you now have a panel that will come up here where the agent will now begin to interact with the customer. So that's loading up for us. Very good. So with this now, I can now see the communication panel, right? And it will show me. So if, for instance, you had a chat bot placed on that work stream, you will see all the interactions the customer have had with the chatbot. So when I go through chatbots, you also see that that will be in part of this series. So let's say the customer. Let me just go back to the customer end and say hi. So it told me that CRM agent has joined the conversation. So the agent has picked my request. So I'll say hi CRM agent. I need help with the products config something. Let's say guys, take guy config file, something like this. If I click on enter, when you come down to your CRM agent, you see the communication from the customer pop up here. Still trying to let me see what's okay. It sends. Is the agent. Also, you can see the pre-survey questions that we're asking. So they are already here. You could also see the device in which the customer is using in regards to chatting with you. So different businesses could use that for different use case as it may be. Also, from this also we could create a new contact or a new account for the person, or create a new case as the case may be. So let's say we want to use this person's information and create a new contact. So if I just click on new contact, so I click on new contact, and you could just pass in the person's details that was collected. So first name Victor, just put last name Okuche, then scroll down and just see his email address is Victor oguche@gmail.com, and I can say save and close, right? So I've passed in this agent into the system as a customer. So let me try refreshing the chats from the customer. Didn't pop up here. Let me just refresh. Maybe a case of network issues. Okay, so I've closed the previous chat so that we could just test with the new information, the customer details I uploaded. Let's see how, if a new chat is coming, how the chat widget displays it. So let me just refresh this, say run again. Now click on let's chat. Click on this let's chat. So now say the name is still Victor OGCHE, And the email address is same, victorogUCHE@gmail.com. Then I'll go to yes. Okay, now let me just say no and click on submit. So once I submit, it's going to pick up. So let's say I say hi, Royal Tech Hub. So let's go back to the agent and see what the agent is saying. So you see now, it's instead of visit line, it says chat request from Victor Guche, because my record's already on the system and I'm using the same email. So CRM is matching the email with the customer that's already on the system. So let me just close this previous one, close this, and I will accept this one. Just click on accept. So basically that's the approach when the customer is already sitting in CRM. So you'll be able to see the customer details, and now the customer information is what pops up here, and still the normal conversation pre-survey and interaction with customer and the agent begins to flow on this communication panel. So that's basically how the configuration for all the channels, right, that I've shown comes through. But you have them extensive, right? There are other channels that are still available and you can extend them, but most of them follow the same patterns. For the ones that require accounts, like we saw in Facebook, the ones that require all those, you need to create them and be able to forge ahead. So the next we're looking at is the agent experience and productivity tools, right? So this speaks to the whole interface, right? And a walkthrough on how the agents receive this complaint. So let's walk through that in on our demo environment now. So let me just spin that up. This is our agents. These are agents. I have quite a number of profile already logged in. So I have that one for an agent. So our agent is actually going to be the Gesto user 1. Then we also have a fellow agent, which is Gesto user 7. And we also have the supervisor, which is Jamin Fateh. So we're going to be seeing all these persons play out their different role with regards to what Omnichannel is set out to do for them. So let me start. So this is a use case. I'm a customer, right? And I have a complaint, or I want to interact with a company, and I go to their website and there's a chat with us icon. So let's get the chat widget. So if you've not, if you don't know how to set up your work stream for chat and all that, you can check my videos on setting up work streams or the one on chatbot, and you'll be able to see how to set this up. But straight away, I'll be going back to my work stream and just picking the chat widget. This is a widget which you place on your website and different platforms so that you can have interaction with your customer. So I'll just run to test this here. So paste this. I'll click on run. All right. So as you can see, there's on the bottom right corner where I'm hovering my mouse, you can see the less chat icon there. So that's basically how the chat widget will sit on your website. So when I click on less chat, so the chat interface pops up. For this chat, I currently have a bot sitting on it. Also, if you want to see how this is being set up, check out my videos on setting up a bot on Workstreams. So as you can see, let's say, okay, I just want to interact with the bot a little bit. I say stores. So from stores response, it's going to give me some predefined questions, right, that have been imputed on the bot. So the bot has responded that I'm happy to help with our stores, our store hours. Which location are you looking at for? I'll say I'm looking for Redmond. So it has given me the store hours for Redmond. So basically, how you set up those things, you can check one of my videos. But this is not where I want to go. So what I want to do is I want this bot to hand me over to someone. So if it asks me, did that answer your question? I'll say no. So it says, sorry, I wasn't able to answer your question and all that. Say talk to an agent or rephrase. I'll say I want to talk to an agent. So now it will be transferring me to someone on an agent or CRM based on the setup of the work stream and the queues and all that. So So I'll go to the agent that has been set up. So as you can see, the chat is already coming in. Can you see at the top right? So it's saying there's a chat request coming from a visitor because there's no way it's tying this person. It doesn't. I'm not requesting emails and all that from the customer. So I'll just accept this. So this is how the omnichannel interface looks like. This is the omnichannel for customer service application. So how your agent access this is when you go to your the omnichannel apps, you see the omnichannel for customer service. So that's the module I'm currently on. So when you accept that chat request coming in, be it coming from Facebook, it's coming from WhatsApp, it's coming from whatever chat end, your Microsoft team. Once you accept it, this is the interface. All your agent, this is default. This is the interface you'll be getting from wherever the chat is coming from. And the first thing we'll be able to see from this interface is we have something called the communication panel, which is on the left arm. You can see, so what the communication panel gives, it gives the chat history, right? Whatever has transpired with that customer for that conversation history. So as you can see, I as an agent can go through and say, okay, the bot greeted the customer. I can read through, see what the customer said. Then I can also see how answers was given down to when it was given to me. So that's what this does. So I could just tell the customer and say hi, or I could just go straight to the point based on what I was say. I'll say hi. Um, I'll say hi. Can I know your name, please? Something like this. So when I come down to the customer end, you can say, hi, can I know your name? You say, yes, sure. My name is, let me just pick a random name and say Victor, right? Just say this. So I go back to my chat so you can see what I'm having. Okay, say okay. I can now continue and say, how can I help you with store hours or something like that? Because I could see from his history that he's made something about store hours. I will hit here and I'll say so now I want to show us another thing about the panel. So when you come here, one of the key feature we have here is the sentiment. So just on the communication panel, just below it, what you have here is the sentiment. You can see currently is neutral. So when the customer begins to go negative, right, or is beginning to express dissatisfaction based on the inputs of the words that are being used, your sentiment changes, right? So I can come down here. Let me see, as a customer, I said, yes, I have an issue with a bad, okay, let me say very bad item I got from one of your stores, right? So when I get back here to the interaction, you can see it has changed to slight negative. So let me add more words. This is very, very bad, right? I am not happy with the item. Something like this. And when I get back here, you can see now it's now negative, meaning the customer is really, really dissatisfied. So I'll say, oh, so sorry about that, right? Please, can you let me know? Can you let me know the store you got the item from, right? Something like this. Then I'll come back to the customer's end and say, yes, please. It's from your CTEL store. Something like this. And let me change the narrative. Okay, you say, I really like your mm, your way of working, your way of work, something like this. So when I get back here, I can see that my sentiment have changed. So this is how your agents, right, can be monitoring um, how the conversation is currently standing with what the customer is saying and all that. Then the next feature is you can make attachments, right? You can attach documents, so you can see the attach button here. So maybe you want to attach document or something to the customer, or you want to give maybe a receipt or something that you've downloaded. Fantastic. You could attach that. Also, the customer has the capability also to attach documents from their own end. For security reasons, some persons might you can have this customized and removed, so that's not basically an issue. Then another fun stuff I would love to show us here is a quick reply. So quick replies are maybe let's say predefined messages you want to give back, right? So when your agent clicks here, so quick replies are already it's becomes part of the chat. Then another option you have here is start a consultation. So what does start a consultation does? So let's say now this person bought an item in Settle store, right? And I want to reach out to someone there to join this consultation so that the person knows. So it's that person is also an agent, right? For somewhere, but I want to bring the person into this conversation with me. So I have one agent, right? In my this Gesto 7 is in the general contact center. So I want to bring him into that conversation. That's the start a consultation. So the person also can air in their voice, right? And give details on what actually should be said to the customer and also help the customer's conversation. So I'll click on start conversation. So what you first of all need to do is you need to select the queue in which you want to pick someone from. So I'll go down here and do contact center chat queue, and you can see my Gesto 7, it's currently available. So when I click on this person, if I go to this person's end, you can now see the consult request. This is not a consult request, it's not a chat request. So when I click on accept, this is how this person's interface will open up. So you have the conversation panel where you are monitoring what the conversation is doing, but you can't chat there. Can you see? The person that's consulting that they consulted cannot actually chat there. So let's say you have like your technical leads, right, in your in a team, and you want to bring them on a conversation, right? So this is how you bring them in. So you could have, let's say, a queue that is basically for team leads, maybe in your organization. And when the frontline engineers or the frontline agents, right, are making conversations with customers and they want to bring those persons in, you can use the consult. So how does the consult work? So the person consulting here can now say, hi, just to one. So when I click on hi here, when you go back to the person actually answering the agent, you can see the consult session is already open. I'll now say, hi, just to 7. I'll say, please, the customer got an item from your store. Can you help with replacements? Then I'll go back to, so you can see now this, with all this interaction, the customer isn't seeing anything, because when you go back to the customer view, you can see it still stays here, right? So you say, I'll now, this console now say, oh, sure, I can see the history, the chart history, something like this, right? Do tell, okay, let me say, now the team lead is saying, do log a case for the customer for a return, something like that. So I'll then tell the customer, I'll say, Thanks for your remark. Please note. Okay, let me close this. It's not here. This I want to chat to the customer. I'll say, please note that that I will be logging a ticket for your replacement, something like this, right? So now, um, that's for the consult. So there's another approach to you. Let's say you want to move this conversation to totally someone. You are not actually doing a consultation. You want to move it, but I might not want to move this. So what you do is you click on the transfer to queue, then you select the queue you want to move it to, or the agent or the person you want to move it to. So like I say, I can transfer to an agent. So if I click on this agent 7, I'll be transferring this chart to agent 7. I will show us that in the in another use case where I will stop this chart, start a new chart again, then transfer to agent 7. Also, you can transfer to a queue. So when you transfer to a queue, the queue assignment method kicks in and assigns to the next available person. Let's say you don't know the person you actually want to assign this to, and you know what you need to assign. So I'll close this. That's basically what you have for the transfer. So you can add persons to this chart. So you can see you could just add people that are available to this chart. So you can see how robust this is. I can add this just to 7, but it's already doing a consultation for me. So depending on how robust the issue becomes, and you need to bring people in from different teams to come and assist the customer on the charts. So Omnichannel gives you this powerful feature where you could bring in persons live on the chart, and on the background you're doing all those consultations, but the customer is only interfacing with one person. Then to the icing on the cake for me, right, is the co-pilot. So you have the co-pilot feature sitting right here with you. So it can help you suggest response that you could give the customer. It will also help you summarize your conversation. This is super. So let me just click on the summarize conversation so that you can see. So you can see it has summarized whatever has happened here. So let's see how we could use this, right, to quickly do a work. So let's say there's a feature for the supervisor to monitor whatever is going on. So when I go to the supervisor's own end, right, this is the supervisor end, right, and the supervisor has a dashboard on the Omnichannel customer service. They have ongoing conversation dashboard. So as you can see, this is jamming, just to 1 and 7. So he has access to the chat that is currently going on, and he can see what's happening to these charts and the customer sentiments. You can see the customers, excuse me, you can see the customer sentiments here, which is currently slightly positive, right? So he wants to see what's going on. So when he clicks on this, he clicks on monitor. So when you click on monitor, that conversation opens up for you as a supervisor. And most times, your agents don't even know that you've opened it up. So you can actually monitor and see, okay, what is actually going on here. Okay, you could see that he asked for the location, he was dissatisfied at some points, and different things. You have the option of joining the conversation, meaning if you click on this join conversation, the customer will be see you on the on its presence. That means from his own end, you can see currently that the customer is only seeing just one. So let's say as the supervisor, I want to quickly come in here. Let's say I join the conversation. So join conversation will automatically join both, will automatically open your consult and your conversation, right? Why you can also only join as a consult and only speak to your agents, right, to know what's actually going on. So let's say when I come here, you can see that the customer has been notified that Jamin has joined this conversation. So I can come and say here that hi customer, right? This is, so I'll just come here and say this is just to one manager. I am here. I am here to help speed up your requests, right? So the customer says, oh, this is super and great. I am glad to have the manager here, right? So things like this. Then let's say on the consult side, right? I as the manager now, Jamin, I will now ask, can you give me a summary of 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 the issue, something like this. So now your agent, he can just use the conversation summary, then copy this and just paste it here. Super. So he has given the manager a quick summary of what has been going on. The customer inquired about store hours from the Raymond location, but was dissatisfied with the response. They then requested to speak to a human agent. After being transferred, the customer named Victor expressed unhappiness with the item. So beautiful summarization. So that's one of the beautiful things, right? I really love about Omnichannel. So I'm going to be showing you some additional things. Another is taking notes. So this is, let me go back to the agent that is working on this. So this is the agent. So I just close this. So now I've told the customer that I want to actually log a ticket for them for their replacement. So I will need to take notes. But you can't take notes when this record doesn't have a case linked to it yet. So on that feature we have for Omnichannel is, while you're interacting with the customer, you could quickly log a complaint, right, for that customer. So you could tie this conversation to someone. That's where you have the search customer here. So let's say you could search for the customer here. Also, you could log a new ticket for that person. There's the option of tying to a customer. Then you can link the conversation to maybe an old complaint the person has had. But let's say I want to log a new ticket for this. I'll just log this. I'll say new ticket, new case. Then the case type is let's say problem, and let's say the customer here is let me see if my profile is still here. Yeah, Victor. Then the title is requests for item replacements, right? Something like this. Then search product. Let's see if we have the product he wants to return. Let's say it's airport something, serial number. So now I can now ask the customer something like this. Now that I'm logging the case, I will say, what is your product's serial number? Something like this. So the customer says A123456HT. It replies. I go back here, copy this. Sorry. I go back here, copy this, and I come and put this as a serial number. I could just leave everything as default. Then I could hit on this to save and open it. So you can see how beautiful the Omnichannel gives everything on the fly for your customer. So as you can see, I've linked the customer with this request I've done, and also I now have the customer details, so you can see recent cases opening up for me. So these are written things. So I could just hit on this to close this, so to give me more space here. So now with this case I've logged, I can now ask this customer some additional information. But while doing that, I can take notes. That's another beautiful thing. So I can just hit on take notes here. So now I can now start asking the customer, what time did you get the item, right? So the customer says Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. All right, so I go back here and I just say CX got the item at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, right? So let's say return policy still applies, something like this, right? So let's say with this now, I'll just add this note. So what happens is the case that what I created, if you go down to the notes, you can see there will be a note sitting down here. Let me refresh this. So can you see the notes that I just created while I was chatting with the customer? So this is the note. You can click on view more. So you can see this is the note. So whoever is assigned this case can now use the timeline and see the interaction that has gone in. So I'll just tell the customer, hi. Okay, great. I have logged a return ticket for you, right? Something like this. Your case ID is, so I could just go and get the customer case ID so that in case it's coming to make request is this, you will be contacted shortly for your return. So the customer will say thanks, right, a lot for your support. Then he is okay. So now you are done with this. Then you could, since the customer is fine, you could proceed. So different persons could also leave the consult, right? This is jamming. So she's still observing what's going on. She could choose to leave if she sees everything is fine. Also, this Gesto 7 could also leave if he's done with what he's helping out with. Then everyone has left the consult. Gesto 1 could also end the conversation. So, or the customer can also end from his own end. But since everything is done, you just go from the customer end and you click on end. This ending the conversation. So you can see now that our conversation is ended. So once the conversation ends, can you see what Copilot does for you? So it gives insight into what is your issue. So the customer had to issue, they wanted to know the stores. So it goes through what happened in the whole course of that conversation and gives you a summary. And also the customer is notified here that Gesto has ended the conversation and he can go. He can just close this and you say close and he is done with. So that's basically the end-to-end process on how Omnichannel helps you as an organization, right, to be able to meet customer needs on the fly, right? So this is on the fly. So you can receive this kind of interaction from Facebook. You can receive them from different platforms. So to show you the list of platforms that are available in which you could receive them from, and you can also build a custom, right? If you go to your Workstreams, if you try creating a new Workstream, so if you check my video on Workstream, you could see uh, different ones. So tests, Workstream, something like this. So the Workstream is messaging. So now when you click on the type, you could the channel, you could see you could request, you could have this same interaction from your Apple messaging for business, from custom, where you could now build some custom channels, right, to receive them. You could have on Facebook, Line, Microsoft Team, SMS, WeChat, and WhatsApp. So you have a robust list of functionality available for you. So that's basically a run through overview on what you have and you can obtain from the customer service omni-channel, from an agent perspective, from a fellow agent perspective, and also from the supervisor's perspective, trying to interact with your agent while they're on the work. So that's basically the end to end, right, for the agent's experience, right? Also, as we could see, right, the supervisors to also have their monitoring tool, right, where they could see live conversation, they could badge in, right? They could also see analytic reports, as we just saw previously. So licensing and deployment consideration. So for Omnichannel, right? Previously the license was called Digital Content Center. Well, now they are now calling that, it's now called Microsoft Dynamics Contact Center. So there's a like a product bundle like that it comes with. So if you want only the customer service and you don't want the omni-channel end, you could buy only. If you want together, but now it now comes as the contact center license, so that you know how to advise your client appropriately. Even the chat runs on its own license format. So you should ensure that you have the current status of the license capabilities are available listed, because most customers will need to get that, because that you have the customer service enterprise license doesn't cover for all the whole deployment that we've been seeing thus far, right? Each capabilities will require you a separate license. So Omnichannel enables seamless real-time customer engagement. So from any channel, they they are being they have agents, right, that will be receiving those things. So it gives that unique experience for the agents, right? It's the same interface. It's not like you're jumping from one platform to another to receive um chats that are coming from Facebook and running to another platform to receive ones that are coming from WhatsApp, or to receive the SMS, or the ones or the ones come from other channel sources. So it's all one platform, one interface, but all of them are being seamlessly streamlined into the omni channel end. So next, I'll just be walking us through the contact center experience, right? Just as we've seen for Omnichannel, there's a contact center experience, but the configuration also follows same light. So see you in our next module.